All right, Mitchell George, Crooked Cinema. Welcome to the Lowdown. Let's do a little history background for those that are tuning in now. The Lowdown is a vodcast that is an extension of the column that I once wrote here in the city of Airdrie. And what I'm trying to do is tie in. I want to expand things. The column was always about arts, culture, and people. And now I want to take it even further. I want to get into different conversations and all that good stuff. So my hope is that if you're watching here today, that you're inspired to watch this and watch again and come back and see. And also you're invited to get a hold of me. Reach out if you think you have something to say or something to speak to here in the community or outside of our community. If it's of interest to yourself, the audience, or you want to tell the world about something, make sure you get in touch. So without further ado, Mitchell George, Crooked Cinema, how have you been?
Thanks for having me, man. This is so cool. The one thing, especially with the arts in this community, it's so cool to see how much it's grown. I wouldn't think a couple of years ago that I would be doing something like this. And especially where the arts are going, to what caliber they're at now, which is really rad. So thanks for doing stuff like this, man. I think this really it adds to the creative juices of the city, and
I hope so.
And it only adds to the growth. So
I hope so. That's the goal. And the Lowdown was something that came after in 2017 into 2018, and it was really a happenstance sort of thing that came into my life, which my life has been a series of full circle journeys. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to write for the paper. When I was a kid, I was writing columns on the Winnipeg Jets, like in 1985. Yeah. I just wanted to write. I had a little typewriter. I should actually have it in my set. And so when that happened, that's how we met, as a matter of fact. I had met you before, but you didn't know that because during the campaigning for the 2017 municipal election, there was the film festival in Airdrie, and I went to it. I sat in the back and kept quiet, and it resonated with me. There was a lot of people in the arts community as I was running that were curious as to where I was at with the arts, and I was like, "Wow, you should probably, have a look at my webpage." I've been involved in the arts for years. As I consider arts and specifically stand-up comedy as the savior of my life. And that's what the story of Finding Laughter is, and that's how you and I kind of evolved our early working relationship. So I saw an opportunity from that, the election, seeing your film in the festival, and then afterwards seeking subjects to write about in our community. I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. This dude is like, look at what he's shot, because I'm all about the cinematography. I love a clear, crisp, beautiful shot, and you got so many of them in that project. So I wanted to speak to you. So that's just for a little background for the people that are tuning in. That's how we kind of came together, and you told me a bit more of your story, and I wrote about it. And but now, fast forward a couple of years, a lot has come to pass in both of our lives, and I think there's an opportunity here for an update, and that's why we thought it would be great to get together again.
Yeah, and I'm so excited to be here, and it's weird because even hearing your voice, I'm feeling nostalgic.
Why is that? I don't understand.
I love it's I think we just spoke so much, and then the world's been so crazy lately, and I feel like I'm talking to nobody. I'm talking to editing software. And so a voice that I was so used to hearing years ago, and now hearing it, it's just a sense of nostalgia, and I love it. It's cool. It's a cool feeling. Yeah.
Cool. I accept that. I think that's fantastic. And you played a kind of a, so I kind of owe you a bit of a thank you. Actually, this is just coming organically at the moment. And that's how I want this to be. That's why I'm not really before I did background on people, and then I sat down and I let them open up, and I want that to happen here too. But I just want this to be a little more off the cuff. So here we go. I want you to know that like, I believe people come into people's lives for reasons. I'm a big believer in all that stuff. And nothing's for nothing, you know, not for nothing. You've probably heard that before. So what I think a lot of people, maybe they don't know, is how finding laughter kind of got its final kick in the ass. So I've all my life, all along, people that I would have, you know, intimate conversations with would say, you know, you need to write a book. You need to tell this story. This is crazy. You need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're not, you know, you didn't completely fall through the cracks, etc. This sort of thing. So you and I, we did the column. We spoke about projects. I expressed my interest in working and getting back to my work. And then I shared with you that I had a script that I wrote, if you recall.
Yeah.
And that was Grow Up. So that, for everybody watching, was a project about this pack of dudes that were growing drugs. And it was like this really, it was a drama comedy, and it was stupid but brilliant at the same time, and poorly written but executable. And I shared with you that I had like a stack of rejection letters, and I submitted it to all these people. I even Global at one point strongly considered it. And long story short, there I was with this envelope with a script that me and a couple folks in Vancouver years ago helped me hammer out.
Yeah.
And you wanted to see this, and you did. We exchanged the project I gave to you. We talked, and then we got to talking about me and my life and my journey. And I had said 2 key words to you, and I didn't realize what I had said to you until you said it back to me. So we met again after you reviewed Grow Up. This is my recollection. So if I'm forgetting pieces, jump in. And good. You said, Tim, this is cool. Like, Grow Ups, this is cool. Fine. But this isn't the story that you need to tell.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, here we go. I've heard this before. And I've always, I was working on things, and I had been working all along. And my art, my creativity came to a halt early to mid 2000s, where I walked away from everything. I had to go through this 15-year transition, 10-year transition in my life before coming to Airdrie and before we met. And then you said to me, this whole thing with your brother, you need to tell this story. This is the story you need to tell. And you said to me, Tim, I'm being you now. You said that all you've done in your life is you've been trying to find, you've been, I don't know exactly how you said it, but you said, it's like you described to me what I said to you, and you said, you encapsulated it in saying that it's like your entire life's been about finding laughter. And you said, Tim, that's the big piece. That's the story. And I was like, shit, you're right.
Shit. Yeah. Well,
like in my head, like I process stuff quick. Right. And I was like, maybe that's it. You are right. And right from there we went. Yeah. So that's what I recall. And I owe you a debt of gratitude in a sense, because in a real sense, in a real creative creator to creator sense, like, we don't do anything alone.
No.
Right? There's pieces that we have to go along. Right? Like when Yoda asked Luke if he was scared. Right? And he's like, no. And he's like, well, you're going to be. Right? You're going to go alone for a minute into the darkness. And I've done that, and a lot with different pieces that I had to deal with. But I'm excited about where things are at. We've done a lot of work, because I know off the top, you and I both, we worked on the trailer. You did a fabulous job of editing it, and we're working towards updating that, and we're working towards, I'm into the first draft, into the second draft, really, because Deanna was the one who said she's come on board like full bore, like
awesome.
Like she's such a pillar, right? And of just broad view, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
she was the one that was like, how many more people have to tell you that you need to write the book? This is not just about this video or documentary, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That's not what this is just about. There's pieces here. And she was like, the written body is, that's what people read the Lowdown. They read your work. They like your work. This is how you really speak to people.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have that as well. And that's when I really started to accept that I need to do that. Right. And it's, so that's where that part of the journey's been. And we really haven't spoken in so long. And I didn't have you on here to tell you all about me.
Yeah.
But we have a different kind of connection than other guests that I've had so far. Yeah. And I think it's important in life to be to show gratitude and to show appreciation, respect. These things are really, really always top for me. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for how we met. I'm grateful for what you kind of helped bring clarity to. That's a big deal. And I haven't let it go. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, we attempted initially to do the TELUS grant.
Yeah.
And then I worked with ATB on something, and none of that was happening. And something I learned from another documentary maker, they were like, okay, you got two choices. You can accept grant money, our funding, our investment, but you're going to give up creative control.
Oof, yeah.
Or get it done.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that resonated with me so much, because I'm all about, like, look, if you're not going to come help build the deck, just tell me that.
Yeah.
I'm going to pound screws into that thing. We're going to be sitting on it by 5:00.
Yeah.
That's how I roll. Mm-hmm. And we've gone hard at this, and it's a lot, and it's evolved. And we're now, I've gotten 8mm, all the 8mm film from back home.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So there's actually, I'm going to have footage of my brother at like 2 years old.
Yeah. And I think that's the powerful part of the documentary journey, right? Is finding laughter. It can't be done in a year. It can't be done in 2 years, right? Like, and that's why it's this journey and why it's taking so long. And you almost,
but not that long.
No, not that long.
Like, really.
Yeah.
And I always say to people when they're on a mission, like apprentices, when they come into, like, as I'm a tradesperson, I say it's a 4-year deal, man. And they're like, oh my God, it's so long. I'm like, yeah, it's 1,200 days. Well, and
you want to do this right. And this has to be done right. So finding laughter, and I appreciate you saying what you said, because I have always been, with my creative outlook, I'm always about true stories. I'm all about real stories and getting them told. And when I heard about Finding Laughter, I knew it was a special story, and it was your story, and it was true. And I knew that something like that needs to be told. And it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how many barriers there are. I know it's going to get done, and I know you will tell that story, and it's going to be amazing. And I know from day one, Finding Laughter was a special story. And I don't know how, if anyone's listening to this and hasn't heard of Finding Laughter, you should probably go watch the trailer or look at the pitch video, because it's awesome.
It's almost been cathartic, because I'll tell you just a quick story, and we'll get to your exciting stuff. And I guess in a sense, this is okay, because that's what this is about, right? I'm suddenly feeling this sense of guilt that we're talking about this, but I think it's also important. It's almost like, because we haven't spoken in so long, I feel almost like, and I haven't seen you for so long, that like, these are things that I've really actually wanted to genuinely say to you.
Yeah.
And how do you write that in a messenger?
Oh, no, you can't. No.
Right? So actually, it's kind of funny how this is coming around. I'll just tell you a really quick thing. We shot some interview pieces, and I broke it into pieces, the whole story. And I told the story of the night my brother died. And that's when I realized, like, I'm not in over my head, but this is huge. I think it took me around 35 minutes
to write it.
So just for that piece. But I had also never, ever, not that I can recall in the last 20 to 25 years, told the story that in depth. And I fell apart after. Like, I came apart. Like, holy fuck. Like, it was so much, right? So that's been part of learning how to manage. This all happened a lot of years ago now, but it's amazing how that level of trauma doesn't matter. And it's not that it affects me negatively today, but when you're working on a project like this, you have to manage your psychology. You have to manage, right? Time. So you go through, so this particular Sunday, we went through the heavy shit, and I told this different things, and it emptied me. It probably took me a few days to come through that so I could function and normally to my way, and etc. And I learned a big lesson in that day. Like, I learned how big this was. That's when it hit me. Like, oh, fuck, this is huge. Like, I didn't understand. I didn't even know. And so, I thought that I would share that with you just in this moment, because you know what it's like to shoot stuff, and you know what it's like to have to or attempt to capture things. And I just thought I would share that because, one creative to another.
Yeah. And that's amazing. And when we're telling stories that impact us like that, that's where the importance of storytelling comes in. When we know, when stories help us heal, when stories help us figure out where we're heading in life and figure things about ourselves, that's the important part, especially with telling, our own stories or stories that are close to home. So that's the part of the process. And I think that's what's so beautiful about it. And you can only hope that anyone else who does watch it or does see the finished product, that they would take something like take away from it. Right.
That's my hope, is ultimately that trauma survivors understand that they can have a life.
Yeah.
Your life does not have to stop.
Yeah.
So now that is that thank you and that sort of acknowledgement, and that is there. I want to hear about what is going on, like what's happening with Mitchell George. What's new and exciting? How has it been for you since we last spoke? Like, what's up?
So I've gained a lot of weight. COVID hit, put on some weight.
I understand this. I'm a bit of a chungus myself.
Watch more Netflix than I ever should have.
Yes.
No, I found myself doing a lot of the online internet stimming. Kind of walked away from the film world for a little bit, but I was still inside of the film. I was just creating more content for YouTube, creating more content, live streaming stuff, little short comedy skits. But I was still trying to stay creative. Unfortunately, the creative spark was lost with COVID. And it had some spikes, it had ups and downs. And I think a lot of people in the world, are feeling this.
Totally.
I'm a social guy, and a lot of my projects and a lot of my inspiration comes from conversations, comes from patio beers, comes from just moments in my life. And I felt like with the absence of those social interactions, my creative spark was extinguished. It was gone. And so I just found myself not really finding the need to pick up a camera. I wasn't doing Photoshop. I wasn't drawing. I wasn't doing anything creative. So for a couple of months, I was just playing video games, watching Netflix, just lounging in the isolation world.
Yeah.
And which is, is kind of a blessing in disguise, because I wasn't going out, I was isolating. I was doing my part. And then it wasn't until a couple months ago, I re-sparked. I got inspired and I said, you know what, we need to do something. A goal of mine was every summer I have to shoot a narrative. I got to shoot something. And I was doing well. We shot Highway Patrolman. I shot Come to Me. We did a couple shorts, and every summer there was a project, but the last 2 summers there wasn't. And maybe that's the need that wasn't there. So this summer we're like, we got to shoot something. We have to shoot something. I don't care what it is, how we're going to do it. So we pulled out a script from the log of scripts. And I'm telling you, there's a lot of them. And this one's called My Father's Car. And it has to do with a father with cardiovascular disease and his young daughter working on a summer car. And it's an Albertan story.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And we want to tell it this summer, and we want to create a 15-20 minute short film. We've reached out to a couple businesses. We've reached out to some folks who could help us with some catering, possibly locations. We were looking at a couple garages.
Nice.
Looking at housing location. It's really tough right now because, totally. With COVID, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything appropriately. We have a relatively small crew, but this is one that we're really banking on, man. This is our revival, I guess. This is our Phoenix down, and we want to bring ourselves back to our creative light with this project.
I love it. It. So, yeah, obviously with the challenges of that you mentioned, it does give a lot of opportunity to plan and to execute that up front. So, it's funny you said there for a second, you said that, like, I don't know how exactly you put it just now, but you said that, like, you called this a revival, and I don't know why, but for a second there, I think my eyes squinted a little, because I was like, is that fair? Like, are you being too hard on yourself? And I think that maybe some people, that's one thing I'm seeing in a lot of people, is they feel because they may have actually subconsciously embraced COVID and how COVID shut a lot of people down. And I'm hearing that, and I'm going, like, maybe that's not entirely the best way to look at it. Like, maybe it's a really good thing that happened, and you're not necessarily in a revival, but the creative process, similar to what you were saying to me earlier, the creative process takes its time. It has its cycle. Yeah. And there's these moments where we're pounding and producing, and then there's these introspective times that we have to go through. So I don't know. I'm just trying to spin it healthy, right? I'm trying to just say, like, look, like, I don't think you got to revive anything, man. Like, you're a strong performer in your own right. Like, what you have inside you, and what you've produced previously, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we just, it's been a while, and we just want to sharpen our knives, right? We want to make sure that we can still, we still got it, and make sure that, we can tell a story. Yeah. We have we've got work, we're shooting some commercial stuff. Okay. And we're working with Wild Rose Brewery right now.
Oh, that's excellent. So how did that come to be?
So Wild Rose, they've been so good to me. They're such an amazing brewery. My hat's off to them. I love those guys to death.
Nice.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know a couple of their house band, the Frontiers. I know Drew from there, and we kind of got connected. And they were looking to do some video work for their lineup. And we jumped on it because we think we love the community there. We love the culture there.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it really felt good to us. So, we're working on, some commercial stuff, and I really enjoy that. But again, my heart's in telling those stories within commercials and branding. But we really love the narrative work. And so when we have summers that we can take some time to tell the stories that are very true to us, and tell the stories that are impactful, and, you know, ones that we can kind of call our own, and, you know, throw to festivals and celebrate and and collaborate. You know, when there's so many creative people in this city, to open up an opportunity to go, hey, we're making a short film and we want you involved. And everything we've done in this city, we want to get local actors. And we had, I think a majority of highway patrolmen were Airdrie cast, you know, so we built a team of all Airdronians, and shot. And that's where we live. We live to collaborate in our community. And if we can't find it here, we'll go elsewhere. But it starts at home, and, you know, it's special, right? And especially,
100%.
So the narrative piece, we're excited to get back into it. There's so much we've learned since Highway Patrolman, different cameras, stuff. We're learning all the time. And
what are you shooting with now?
So right now we're shooting, we're still running the Ursa Mini, but this camera here is the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 6K.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I looked at that camera like long and hard as a second, and we really considered that camera recently. Yeah.
Well, the 6K Pro is out now. Oh, you can leave that undone. No worries. The 6K Pro is out now, and that's a good one. But I'm looking into we're looking to get the 4K, so actually going backwards in time. Okay. Just for the micro 4/3 mounting option there. So, yeah, I jumped full ship over to Blackmagic, and I love the color science and learning DaVinci, and that's that.
You're working in DaVinci?
Working in DaVinci,
because that comes with the Blackmagic, does it not?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
It does.
So how do you like it compared to Premiere?
Oh my God, I love it. Like
more, you like it better?
More. So the nice thing about DaVinci is anyone who hasn't learned DaVinci or has the program and is just so intimidated by it. DaVinci has this great tutorial setup where you can actually tell the program what software you're using right now, and it'll make your layout very similar to that software. So it kind of looks like, you know, it's kind of like Premiere on drugs, really. So
you just said, let me see if I heard you correctly.
Yeah.
That you can tell DaVinci that you've been working in Premiere, and it will chameleon like itself to make you more comfortable. Is that what I'm hearing?
Very close. Very close.
Wow. Really?
And the color science in DaVinci is, I just love it more.
Okay.
I've worked on some big projects in DaVinci, and I haven't had the software crash on me once. And for anyone out there who works in Premiere knows the absolute crippling pain of having your software crash all the time. And so I don't hate Premiere, but I have a love-hate relationship with with Premiere Pro.
Because Adobe's been around forever. People maybe don't know that, but the way things are now is actually really great. The whole subscription base thing is cool. But back in the day, like to have Photoshop, you had to buy like a 6-disc package, and it was thousands of dollars, and it came with a disc and a key, and
and buy it every year and
yada yada, right? So I do dig the new way. But it's funny you're telling me this. I didn't think we would go down this path. You're intriguing me, because when I looked at one of my big holdups was that if you're going to have second, third cameras, you really should have from the same bloodline, because color, right? Color becomes an issue. Like the GH5 1022, strong, it's good color, but if you throw in, like that was a big question to me. Actually, that was probably my biggest question, was how would a Blackmagic and a GH5 look shooting two different angles of the same thing? Because the color correction would be different.
Yeah, and you'd have
how different?
Yeah. Well, and that would just be, you got to try it. Right.
Right. But I didn't want to buy a camera and do that
Yeah.
and then go, this sucks.
Yeah. Well, and the 6K, and I think the Ursas will be getting an update, but they shoot at B-RAW, which is just so amazing to work with. And I should mention with the software, right now I haven't fully transitioned over. So Premiere Pro, you can export a file that DaVinci will then open up. So your timeline. So I can cut in Premiere because I'm fast with Premiere. You know, the hotkey.
Hotkeys.
Anyone, who's learned how to cut in Premiere, we do it fast now. And so I'll cut in Premiere and then I'll grade in DaVinci.
Really?
So yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping just to be going all through DaVinci, but right now I haven't fully made the transition.
That's awesome.
I'm liking it, man.
So you're basically building in Premiere and color correcting, color grading, two different things, but you're doing that in DaVinci.
Yeah. So sometimes I'll put timeline in and then finish off in DaVinci, or I'll just find my color and then export that LUT and then put the LUT into Premiere. And then
so you're creating your happy place with what you're seeing and then creating a LUT. Yeah. And then, okay.
Well, and sorry, I should probably rephrase. So when I'm in DaVinci, I will do the color grading and then I'll export my color grade as a LUT, as the LUT that I'll be putting into Premiere. So I'll make that LUT from scratch and then That's what
I thought you meant. Yeah.
Cool.
You're making it. Yeah. So
it's
just basically like setting a preset. So for people watching, it's essentially you're creating your own preset for how you want this to look, because in film we you know, correct me if I'm wrong here, Mitchell, you want things to be like two dominant colors generally. Like when you look at great films, there's two, and then whatever it is that you're feeling when you're creating and what you're seeing. So then what happens is you can save that preset that you can apply to the rest of the body of your work if it works, because it's not always that simple. I think sometimes people think they can create a LUT and then it's just going to be for everything you shot. Well, that depends on how much light was in there. Like you still got to deal with your exposures and
color grading is an entire world of its own. And there are guys who are so good at it. Yeah. And I wouldn't even consider myself amazing at color grading because the science involved with it and just how much there is to learn. I'm trying to learn it all the time, but it's its own beast. Same with lighting and same, you know, it's crazy. I would love to be a great colorist, but not yet, because that's a beast. But
that's the whole point, right? And I think that's the thing that stops a lot of people from being creative in the first place, because they think, oh wow, look at how this isn't any good. Well, you know what? Look, what we're doing here and now is on a Zoom. Zoom is downgrading both of what you and I have set up, and a lot of people use Blackmagic and GH5 Lumix. But Zoom's doing what it's doing. I'm doing this for the simplicity of it, and that's the sacrifice, because we can just do this, boom, done, happy. And that old saying, done is better than perfect, holds a lot of weight. And I think that's the thing that holds people back, is that they seem to think that they have to deliver perfect. Well, I think the best filmmakers in the world probably look back on their best work and go, man, I wish I would have done that. Right? Like, and the damn thing won an Academy Award, right? Like, let's be real here. Like, I think that's where people need to remember themselves along the way and remember their confidence. Tell your story.
And that's, and so this setup that I have here,
it looks great, by the way. I love the purple.
Thank you.
I love the purple.
And the story behind this is we're looking to launch a little bit of a show that talks about new tech, talks about lenses, talks about cameras, and
fantastic.
And
can't wait. Can't wait to see that.
And the reason why the set looks the way that it does is
Yep.
When you look through YouTube and you're watching these YouTube videos, these guys have immaculate space. They're shooting in the most beautiful spots. They
Yes.
have it's so ridiculous because I watch this and I go, this is not how it looks. And the fun, I'm like, how come all your lenses have lens caps? In what world does every lens have a lens cap? And how do you find every tool you want so fast?
Well, you better not look at my shelf because I have lens caps. I'm a real weirdo for it.
Yeah.
I'm a weirdo. My caps go on.
For sure. And I guess ultimately for me is that not everyone has this YouTube perfect space, and no one, and that's why we've got the lenses out, we've got the stray lens caps, and when we wanted to emulate what it really means to be a scattered cinematographer and what it means to be on the go all the time, the run and gun.
Yeah,
you come home, you're taking apart your kit,
and
I'm not finding the shelf and putting the lens where it goes, and I'm not taking everything apart and making this perfect. I gotta get to my next shoot. So everything gets thrown on the desk and then we're moving. And so we want to be relatable, and we want people to know that, YouTube. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's not everything is perfect, and it can be almost, when you're watching a video like that, you go, I must be doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Because these guys, they're so perfect. Everything's perfect. Yes. And why am I scattered all the time? And that's not real. And you know what? Kudos. They're making it look great. But
yes, all of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And here, I'll add to it. You go and try your ass off. 4K, 60 frames, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And Facebook downgraded it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like it's like, what? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a bugger. Or sometimes, like when COVID first hit, YouTube was doing that, downgrading everybody's stuff. And it was like,
yeah. Well,
so and I hear what you're saying. And I have to totally make a comment on that television, because I love that so much. It's not even funny. Yeah. Because years ago, when I was doing stand-up, I had a show in Vancouver. It was amateur night at Yuck Yucks, and it was called Tim Lowing Tuesdays. And I was the host and yada, yada. And this young fella, Simon King, he was just starting out, and he went on to do really well for himself. He's just released an album. He's doing great. I'm hoping to actually have him on the show. Cool. And that TV. So I wanted to do video on the show. But I wanted it out of a television. So him and his family had this old big wooden console TV, and they brought it to me. And we had it on stage just like that while we did the amateur night. And the idea was to have a VHS on there, and different comics in town would shoot these videos. And we did present here and there, and it was hilarious, man. There was like this one dude had this, his name was Aubrey, and he had this, he played this priest and he was called Father Awesome. Yeah. And he would go up to like the skate park and tell kids how to live. And it was really, really good, actually. Yeah. And he was on rollerblades on a half pipe. It was like, this is 1999, 2000, whatever. Like it was really funny. Yeah. And it was, so I'm just a sidebar story there. Your television is reminding me of that.
Yeah, and what's cool about this TV is so this is a painted green face on this TV, and well, it's not even painted. It's a green screen inside of the TV. Oh, and okay. And this TV is actually a helmet. So this TV can actually fit on a head. So we are currently working on a music video right now.
That's awesome.
That
like Marshmallow, but a television.
Yes, exactly. And so the characters in this music video are going to be wearing TVs on their head. And when
can I see that?
When we finish it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, oh man, I wonder if I could incorporate that into the show and how well the green screen will pick up on live broadcast. And
it looks great. You had me.
Yeah. So we threw it into the show, and so it's cool. Like one day, I'll pick it up and put it on my head. We carved it, we discharged it, and it was a really cool project, but you got to be careful discharging these things because they'll kill you. I was asking everybody because what I was looking up and reading about this is, they're deadly things. The charge that's left in their capacitors or whatnot. I didn't know a damn thing, and we finally discharged it and we gutted it, and now we have it for fun.
Proceed with caution, but exactly, they're not that. I mean, I honestly, we oh my god, we would shoot everything at the dump. I hope people don't think we were like Rambos or nothing, but what should people be looking forward to? And ultimately, if people want to work with you, how can they get a hold of you?
So like I said earlier is, we're really, I don't want to say we're desperate, but we're looking for some help with the summer project because,
what kind of help do you have? Specific help you're looking for?
Yeah. So we're looking like we're working on the final draft of the script. Okay. So we're going to be looking for actors. We're going to be putting a call out for that. Okay. But just any type of catering, anyone who it's only going to be a 3-4 day shoot. So anyone who can offer up a discount or a help for us to feed the cast and crew. Okay. And locations, we're looking for homes.
You need homes?
So I know right off the top, we're looking for a garage.
A garage, like an auto shop.
We're looking for an auto shop.
Homes.
A house garage.
House and garage.
House and garage, yeah. Okay. And like a clothing store.
And a clothing store, what kind of clothing store would be ideal? Like a vintage shop or like a woman's clothing, men's tailor shop? Like
we're hoping more like children's clothes.
Children's clothes, okay.
Yeah, a children's clothes. But anyone who can help. We're not looking for financial support. We're just looking for someone to or not someone, but just anyone who can offer anything to help. This is a passion project. We're going to come at it with a budget and try to do what we can, but very small. It's all going to be out of pocket. It's just something we want to do to create. And put into festivals, potentially in the September Airdrie Film Fest.
That would be cool.
It would be cool. So we just want to make this summer. We want to have something to look forward to. Pull the creatives out of everyone. And, if someone's sitting at home, like, I just want to be part of a project, we're open arms. We want to collaborate. Fantastic. And we want to create.
So, when that starts to go towards, like, say, casting, I know, I actually interviewed, and spent some real good time with, Chelsea Restall. Yeah. And she has, something's happened for her very positive as far as a short, she'll be shooting in the fall. That she's had sort of also made hay while COVID, right? And finished a writing project, and she's real excited about all that. And so maybe there's I know she's been in other projects of yours. She might be a great asset to help for a casting call. Something to think about.
Yep. Cool.
So do you have a mailing list on your website? Is there a way people can stay tuned? Do they follow on Facebook? What do you recommend?
Yeah. So following on Facebook is probably the best. We don't post there often. We're trying our best to get back into the groove of things. Like I said, we kind of walked off the earth for a little bit there to pursue the online stuff under a different identity. But we're back at it. So the Facebook page is big. We do have a mailing list, and you can contact us via our website as well if there's any interest. And we anybody who messages with interest, we keep them into a mailing list that we build ourselves. So.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm so grateful to have your time and to get to have this opportunity to speak with you. I think that a lot of I didn't know where we were going to go. Yeah. And it turned into more of what you and I would have in some capacities spoken of over a pint. And I love that about it, frankly, and that I'm kind of learning a little bit on how to do this myself, right? And my goal was to make sure that when I spoke with people, that it was similar to how I interviewed people, like when I wrote about them. So that was kind of my hope here, is to bring that to life a little bit. Right.
Cool.
And, you know, I'm at this spot where is an hour long too long? Are people going to watch that? Are they going to engage in that? Well, we're going to find out. The cool thing about a vodcast or a podcast, you can come back to it.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to hit this thing off in one shot, right? Like you can, that's the beautiful thing of it. So you can watch 10 minutes of Mitchell and Tim and then be like, okay, I got to go, but I can come back to this. Yeah. So that's sort of the big picture hope here. And similar, we're just as excited about the stuff we're working on. And it's nice to reconnect with people like yourself who are just as passionate about cameras and like the nerd side of it, I call it a little, like color correction. Like there is, like you say, it's an art unto itself. And when you see good color work, it's just like, and that's the beautiful thing about art and creating. You go and it is no different than anything else in life that you want to really apply yourself to. You are watching people that you admire and respect, and you're watching what they're doing. And you know, when I was growing up playing hockey, I'll go right out left field with an analogy here, but I watched the players that I liked, and I emulated my game a little after them. And that's how I learned how to play the game. Yeah. And I don't think it's any different in art. And I think that's okay. I think in art, sometimes we're really guarded. And I think it's okay to be like, this person influenced me. Musicians do it freely. They talk all the time about who their influencers are. Stand-ups are really, it's bad. You can't take influence from anyone because they're a hack. Well, creativity has to be spawned somewhere. So it's just really nice to have a conversation with somebody like this, like I was just saying, and about the subject matter that I'm immersed in. And I love to hear that you're re-engaging in your storytelling, because I think you're blessed with an incredible, you have an incredible eye for how you want stuff to roll out. And I'm excited for what we're going to see, and I can't wait. And, you know, I'm always there if you need.
That gets me excited.
And let me know.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, man. And like I said, collaboration is key, and that's where I live. So even doing something like this, and you creating an opportunity for not just creatives like myself, just for people to come on and collaborate 100%. And just create a better sense of community that's number one. So I love it. Thanks for having me on this. And let me just hang out, man.
100%. Let me know when all this nonsense is over. We'll get together in real time. Yeah. You should come check out actually the truck and the car. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd love to.
I've got a pretty rad little shop. I feel blessed by that. Like that I have these sort of 2 or 3 different creative outlets, because it allows me to go and do that. And I can think about this, and then I can do this, and I can think about that. And that's sort of how I'm wired. Yeah. So cool. I feel very grateful for that. But you know what? Always welcome. And you're always welcome on the show. So when you're ready to talk about some of the advancements or any announcements, anything else comes along, you get a hold of us, and we will be happy to chat again.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, Tim.
You enjoy the weekend. Thank you for your time, and we will speak again soon.
Awesome. Have a good one, man.
Cheers. Bye-bye.